Welcome to My Favorite Bitch, where we talk openly about the good, the bad, and the oh my fucking god ugly of raising dogs, and sometimes other non-canine pets, including the human ones. We might talk about poop, and we might swear, so fair warning. Thanks for joining the pack. Now let's get this ball rolling. For a game of fetch, of course. Hey everybody, welcome to My Favorite Bitch, a podcast where we share honest tales about the good, the bad, and the oh sweet baby Jesus ugly of raising pets. Dogs mostly, but also cats and other pets, and sometimes humans who are like pets. Anyway, I am your host, Beth Campbell. Thanks for joining me today, and I'm going to talk about walking your dog today. Yes, walking your dog. Walking your dog, there are probably 3 or 4 different podcasts about walking. Collars alone, I could give you a whole podcast about collars, and that I've tried on various dogs over the years to get into a good walking cadence. The walk itself, some of the things that we experience. But today, I'm going to talk about the importance of walking your dog, because it is important. And I'll caveat this by saying, if you're out there and you're like, Beth Ann, I can't walk my dog. I have a broken leg, or I'm like super old. Okay, I get it. There are people out there that can't walk their dogs, and maybe they can't afford to have somebody walk their dogs. And some people have dogs that are not able to be walked. I get it. I'm not talking to you. But there are a lot of people out there who have dogs that I think would greatly benefit from daily walks, but they don't get them. And there's no reason for it. And I think with some people, there is a misconception that it's good enough if I have a backyard to play in with a fenced yard, and that I play fetch with my dog and I tire my dog out. And I'm not saying that your dog is living the worst life ever because they don't go for daily walks, but I am saying that you are missing out if you're not taking your dog on regular walks. If you're capable, and if your dogs are capable, you're missing out. There are so many benefits of taking your dog out, not only for your dog, but for yourself. And you probably know people, maybe you are a person who has talked about how their dog actually got them out of the house and doing things and moving, sometimes with anxiety, or people that, become housebound, depressed, overweight, whatever, and or just older, and you really have relied on your dog to get you up and around. So there's kind of a mutual benefit to walking your dog. But I do feel sorry for dogs that I see, that I know are not getting regular walks. I do. And again, I don't feel like horrible. I'm not going to judge somebody. I know people have reasons. And again, I'm not suggesting that these dogs are living a horrible, horrible life. There are many dogs living horrible lives, and, dogs that live their entire lives in backyards playing fetch with their owners could do a lot worse, but they also could do a lot better. And so if you know anybody who doesn't walk their dogs, or if you are a person who doesn't walk your dog, but you could, I'm encouraging you to either help out, or if it's you, then get out and do it. I have some neighbors that I'm pretty sure don't walk their dogs. And I can't help but feel sad. I can't help it. I just do. And maybe it's because I have such a great experience with my dog. And that's not to say that it's great every time. Oh, we have our moments, Moxley and I. Yes, we do. But overall, it does warm my heart when we get out every morning, and usually every evening, for a kind of a decompression type of a walk. It does warm my heart, and it helps with a lot of things with me as well as her, as we mentioned. So why is it important to walk your dog? Even though your dog might be getting, you think, enough exercise, and maybe they are getting a lot of exercise in your backyard playing fetch, or running around or playing with another dog, why is it important to still get them out? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Mental stimulation is a big, big thing. Things like enrichment. Enrichment meaning the dog using its senses. Like, dogs are just by nature very, very curious. They like to explore, most of them. And so exposing them to different environments where they can use their senses on new things. I mean, you hear about, when you have puppies, it's really important to socialize them, but it's also important to expose them to different things, not just people and other dogs, but other textures and smells and sights and sounds that you don't get when you're just confining them into a backyard. They need to feel different textures under their feet, right? They need to feel the concrete or the grass or dirt or rocks or water, little puddles, that kind of thing. All of that stuff really helps a dog in their experience, in their enrichment, in their mental stimulation. The smells that they don't get at home, smelling, even though I know it's gross, but there are a lot of dogs just generally like stinky smells. And so there's animal poop and dead things somewhere around that they're smelling, other dogs. Even if you're not coming into physical contact with other dogs, which is perfectly fine. We'll do a whole episode on that. You are under no obligation to have your dog socialize with another dog with physical contact. But there are other ways that dogs socialize. They smell other dogs pee or poop. They can smell other dogs, being around from afar. So they can smell it in yards that have dogs. So that's all ways that dogs are, they socialize. My last two dogs that I had before Moxie, Sammy and Ripley. Sammy was, he was not very social in that, he was, fine, but he was a little aloof. And when he would walk, he would kind of look around and sort of be sort of the protector, like checking things out. But Ripley was my sniffer. And I know she was socializing. She was getting to know other dogs in the neighborhood via their smells. I take my dog now, Moxie, for a morning walk. And on our morning walk, it's a little bit more structured, and structure is another benefit from walking your dog. But it's a little bit more structured. I do let her sniff a little bit, but not for too long. And we tend to, it's more walking and exploring. At night, though, when she's starting to wind down, we go on what is called a sniffari. Not my term. I can't remember where I heard it. Maybe Cesar Millan TV show, but a sniffari, where I tend to be a little bit more lenient, a little bit more relaxed, and let her sniff a little bit more, because I know it's super important. It is arguably, some say that using the senses and that enrichment type of behaviors, using their mind and their senses, can burn as much energy as going on a walk or having a game of fetch. So all of that helps. It helps with their confidence, right? Again, they're experiencing different things when they're out in the world than they will if they're confined to a backyard. Now, if you're like Ree Drummond, the pioneer woman, and you live on like literal, like multiple mile ranch, I think it's okay if your dog just has that quote backyard. But otherwise, if you're just in, like normal people, find a way to get it out. But anyway, just had to throw that in there because, man, I would give my eye teeth to have to live on a big old ranch like that, just where you have to like drive for 20 minutes to get off your property. Oh God, wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, so what else is walking good for? So social skills, enrichment, confidence, behavior, right? Behavior, learning how to react in different situations. You come across a lot of things when you're walking that you don't experience, your dog will not experience in your backyard. Bikes, kids, scooters, other dogs, other people, noises, sirens, loud trucks and loud cars, just so many things that you're experiencing. So it does help build confidence, but it's also a great training opportunity. That's something that we work on with Moxie all the time, not very effectively, but she gets very excited when she meets other people. And so those are great training opportunities. Probably the most important thing, or the thing that I love most about walking, is that it's a bonding experience between me and my dog. It builds trust. It provides a structure and a routine. I like structure and routine. I'm that kind of person. I just do better when I have a structure. I can be more spontaneous. I can step out of that structure more easily than if everything is chaos. So having that routine and that structure, getting out into the world, and it does build that trust. I've seen the trust with Moxie as she's gotten older. When she was younger, when she was really little, of course, we didn't walk her much at all. But then as she got older and was able to walk for short distances, she was very reluctant at times to go out of a routine area that we would go in. I live in a neighborhood. It's an older neighborhood, a lot of different roads and turns, slow traffic. So it's a great place to walk, a lot of different options. So I can take different road every day. And she would get very nervous. I could see we would do a little loop where we would go to the next street over. And I could see as we would get a little farther and farther every day, she would get a little nervous, and I could see her, or I could tell she would kind of turn her head and she would sniff towards our house, where's our house? And it was, I know, a little scary for her, but as we continued to walk every day and she had that trust in me, she let me take her a little bit further. Every week or so, we'd take a new road, and then she started doing it on her own. She would pull me down towards a road that maybe we hadn't gone before. And now she's pretty good. My husband takes her on short hikes. And so it really did build that trust between she and I, and between she and her daddy, having that routine and that structure, but also getting out into the world where she knew she was safe. Even with all the scary sounds and different things that she was experiencing, that trust was built. So I think that's, for me, is the most important thing, and the thing that I love the most. The other thing is too, it's great exercise. And yes, playing fetch and tug and running around the yard and swimming. We have a pool, so we have a swimmer too. That's all great too. But there's nothing like just a good long walk. It's easy on the joints. It's not taxing them with hard exercise. I'm telling you, sometimes Moxie plays fetch in the yard and the grass is wet, and I think there's going to be a knee thing going on at some point. It scares me a little bit. So it's a great way to safely, for the most part, exercise, keep the joints in shape. Older dogs, if they're starting to have joint problems, they can't run around. They can't do the fetch. They can't do the tug. They can't go to daycare because they're getting jumped on by the younger dogs, but they can walk, right? That's something that they can do. That's why it's very important. And when you have a dog who is confined to a small area day after day after day, and people who have destructive dogs who have them confined know that this is a reality. They can have behavior issues at home, and a lot of times that's due to boredom, because even though they're getting enough, quote, exercise, they're not getting out with that enrichment, with that mental stimulation, with that being able to use all of their senses on new things every day. So a lot of people find that if they have that kind of routine and they take their dog for walks every day, it does tire them out, but it also tires them out mentally. So they have that less of those boredom issues and some of those destructive issues due to that boredom and sometimes that hyperactivity. So those are all some great reasons why you should walk your dog every day, if you can, and if your dog can. It's so important on many reasons. I can't even imagine, when I was, before we got Moxie and we were thinking about getting another dog, and we thought long and hard about it because it was so difficult to lose our last two dogs. But there were times where I would just visualize. I had this thought in my head. And at the time I was walking about 3 miles in the morning, every morning. And I just had this thought that I would do the same thing that I would have this dog, this Labrador retriever by my side. I didn't know if it was a silver lab or a black lab, or maybe not even a lab, but just some sort of a dog that had that sort of bond and trust. And I visualized that. I thought about that a lot because that was something that was important to me. So now here we are. We're not quite to 3 miles, but we do sometimes 2.5 miles, and we're getting up there. And it's really, even on my worst days where I just don't want to get up, getting old, the bones are aching, I'm just like, oh, if I could just sleep in, but we still get up. Whether it's, unless it's like really shitty weather, like thundering and lightning, or icy, or which it hasn't been really since we brought her home, but it probably will have a few days. But we go out if it's raining a little bit, if it's overcast, it's a little muggy in the summertime, we still go out. And I wouldn't change it for a thing, even on those horrible days, because I know it's really good for her and it's really good for me. So if you're out there and you're not a dog walker, you got a busy life, you got a lot of kids, I don't know, teach your kids how to walk the dog. I mean, I think I see a lot of kids around in my neighborhood walking dogs, and I love it because it is really important for both. So I encourage everybody, if you are capable and your dog is capable, get out, go for a walk. You can play fetch too. You can, do your tug thing too. That's all important too. But don't underestimate the power of that exploratory walk. It is really, really good for your dog and for you. So, all right, folks. Well, thanks for letting me vent a little bit about dog walking and the importance. Because like I said, I do feel kind of sorry for some of my neighbor dogs that I don't think get out very often. If you'd like to get in touch with me, listen to the credits, you can go to bethancampbell.com/MFB, and that's my website. That's the podcast link, but you can of course access all of my other stuff, contact info. But yeah, listen to the credits and get in touch with me. If anybody has some fun tales to tell about their dog or other interesting pet, let me know. I am looking for more guests. I've got a few that I'm getting lined up, so looking forward to bring those to you. But other than that, thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. And now I bid you adieu. So you may go out and think about what you're going to do on your next walk. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Where are you going to build? You're going to build that trust, get that stability and structure, and let me know about it. I'd love to hear from you, hear how it goes. So get out there and walk. All right, everybody, take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for joining My Favorite Bitch, where we don't hold back about what it's like to raise that little fucker of a pet. We hope you had fun. I'm your host, Beth Ann Campbell, and you can reach me on Instagram or Facebook as TheBean67. That's TheBeann 67. And also on Instagram as Moxie Blue Yule. That's my dog's site, she insisted. I'm also on LinkedIn as Beth Ann Campbell, that's Ann with an E. And check out my YouTube channel, Beth Ann Campbell, where you can find this podcast and other fun videos on the playlist My Favorite Bitch. Remember, we are not trained dog professionals in any way, so please consult the real experts and do your research on anything you hear on this program. We barely know what we're doing. Now go give your pet some snuggles, and we'll catch you after a good nap and some tasty treats. My Favorite Bitch is produced by Beth Ann Campbell and is a product of Beth Ann Campbell, LLC, all rights reserved. Go fetch, Moxie. Good girl.